There are two keychains on my Japanese 3DS. One of them is this thing here. Everybody who recognizes who this is gets a cookie. And the other one is a Magatama made of amethyst. It's a souvenir I brought back from the Ginza Temple in Tokyo back in 2013 when I had an exchange year in Japan. I also have this here. This is a Magatama made of jasper, which I bought back in 2016. In summer, yes. Another souvenir. This one from Aomori. One day it occurred to me that many people might not even count those two as Magatama, simply because they don't really know what the definition of one really is. So that caused me to make a post on my blog, which has now become the video you are currently watching. Now, when I first wrote the blog post this video was based on, trying to type Magatama into Google resulted in nothing but a whole bunch of Ace Attorney stuff. You know, the thing that Phoenix Wright uses as a glorified lie detector? Yeah, that. Nowadays, the results I get are thankfully a lot more diverse, but I still feel that there's no harm to letting a few more people in on the history and facts about what a Magatama actually is. It connects to so much more fun fandom things than just Ace Attorney. The goddess Magatama from Persona 4 Dancing All Night is one of the other associations, for example. Let me explain. Magatama literally means bent jewel, referring to its shape. Magatama can be made of any gemstone you can imagine, and in fact, the most ancient ones found from the Jomon period are made of common rock. However, they are most commonly made of jade. The one used by Phoenix Wright in the Ace Attorney series is made of green jade as well, hence why it has such a distinctive green glow. In the Stone Age, Magatamas seem to have been common in both Japan and Korea, though the trend to producing them only really endured the ages in Japan. Archaeologists are still fighting over why carving stones and gems into this specific shape became popular in Japan of all places, and there's no clear origin, albeit there are some theories. For one, the Magatama shape resembles a fang, meaning that hunters might have used white stone Magatama as a decoration to make themselves look more successful at the trade on first glance than they really were. Another theory is that the shape is supposed to resemble a fetus or a moon, thus symbolizing birth cycles. There's also the fact that if you put two Magatama next to each other, they will resemble a Taichitsu, the symbol of Taoism. However, the most popular theory, which lines up well with how Magatama were used as religious objects of worship starting with the Kofun period, is that they are supposed to resemble a Mitama. Now, if you've played a Shin Megami Tensei game or read Noragami, the term Mitama is probably familiar to you. Ara Mitama, Saki Mitama, Kusi Mitama, and Nigi Mitama. These four figures are representations of the four human temperaments in Shinto philosophy. Fighting spirit corresponding to choleric, happiness corresponding to sanguine, wisdom corresponding to melancholic, and peace which corresponds to phlegmatic. They are often referred to as the four honorable souls, and that's what Mitama means, honorable soul. A Mitama is the visual representation of the human soul in historic Japanese art, a will-o-wisp with a defined tail. And it just so happens that that shape of the Mitama is identical to that of the Magatama. So even if Magatama were not originally meant to look like Mitama, the connection was eventually made, and carving a gemstone into a Magatama became a way of having a physical Mitama to use in religious worship. For that reason, Magatama are fairly common subjects in Shinto lore. In the Nihon Shoki, within the story of how Amaterasu banished Susanoo from the Heavenly Kingdom for his many transgressions, there's a mention of a large Magatama necklace consisting of as many as 500 Magatama, which was made by Tamanoya, the deity of jewelry making. This necklace may or may not be the same one as the one referred to as Mikuratana no Kami, a Magatama necklace which Amaterasu received from Izanagi as a sign of their bond as father and daughter, as well as of her status as the Queen of Heavens. Mikuratana, despite being a necklace, was worshipped as a goddess herself, hence her appearance as a demon in Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Notice the Magatama around her wrists. In the story of Amaterasu and Susanoo, Amaterasu takes off some of the Magatama from Mikuratana's necklace and lets Susanoo chew on them, in order to allow him to, give birth to her children, however that's supposed to work, in a last attempt to mend their damaged relationship. The attempt fails, since after Susanoo's daughters are born, Susanoo and Amaterasu still fight over whose children are more impressive. But still, the story might be why in the Persona series, Mikuratana is associated with forced bonds. After all, forcing a broken bond to mend was exactly what Amaterasu was trying to use her for. Later in the Nihon Shoki, another Magatama carved by Tamanoya either a single one or a necklace, it's unclear, is used to lure Amaterasu out of a cave after she hid herself out of anger and plunged the world into an eternal night. It's often said that this Magatama or Magatama necklace is the Asakani Magatama, one of the 3 Imperial Regalia of the Japanese royal family, which nobody but the Emperor himself is allowed to see. Here you see a picture of the most famous replicas of the 3 Regalia, though nobody really knows if this is actually what they look like. The 3 Imperial Regalia are said to be royal possessions which the Emperor directly inherited from the gods, and each of them stands for one of 3 cardinal virtues. The Yata mirror stands for wisdom, the Kusanagi blade stands for courage, and the Yasakani Magatama stands for benevolence. The Legend of Zelda fans among you may have noticed by now that these are almost the same virtues as those related to the Triforce in the series, and yes, that's probably not a coincidence, especially seeing how the first game to use all 3 Triforce pieces, A Link to the Past, also introduced 3 other important items: a magic mirror, the Master Sword, and a magic jewel. However, the Yasakani Magatama's virtue does not match up with the Triforce of Power, which has always caught my interest whenever I played the series. That's why, to this day, I await this to eventually be used as a plot twist regarding the true nature of the goddess Dean in an upcoming game or something like that. I mean, with all the lore building the series has been doing as of late, it's pretty likely that something like this could happen eventually? I don't know, I just think it's too good an idea to pass up. Magatama also appear in loads of other games and anime. For example, as a symbol of identification for warriors in Ikitosen, or as magical equipment and boost items in Otogi, Elona, and Onigiri. There's also something called a Magatama in Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, albeit that one is actually a pun. Those little buggers' names may be pronounced Magatama, but it is written with the kanji for Magatsu, meaning calamity, and Tamashi, meaning soul. Calamity soul. Pretty fitting given what they do, huh? Nowadays, Magatama are often believed to be talismans that protect one of the rage of the kami, gods and demons alike. Among other things, they are said to protect from calamity and evil spirits, make childbirth easier, and increase one's beauty and chances of winning in competition. The Magatama that can be bought these days are often very small, sometimes just tiny beads that can be used to make fashionable bracelets. Still, whether you use them as a fashion item or as a talisman, Magatama are probably just about the most traditionally Japanese shape a gemstone can be carved into. They connect to a whole lot more than just perpetually broke anime lawyers conducting exorcisms on lying witnesses, as I hope I've been able to prove in this video.